of agri-Biotechnology for climate smart agricultural development, a series of webinars we have been organizing by the funding of and support of United States State Department, USAID, and USDA. And this program is organizing Change Initiative Bangladesh. I am Tofajjul Islam, a professor in the Institute of Biotechnology and Genetic Engineering of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Agriculture University. Meanwhile, we organized in total 5 webinars. The first webinar was overview of agri-Biotechnology, global and Bangladesh perspective, where there were 2 keynote speakers, one from Cornell University, Dr. Maricelo Acevedo, and another from Bangladesh Institute of Nuclear Agriculture, Dr. Mirza Mofajjal Islam. The second webinar topic was research and development of bioengineered crops in Bangladesh. And there were 2 speakers, Dr. Muhammad Abdullah Yusuf Akhund from Bangladesh Agriculture Research Institute, and the second speaker, Dr. Muhammad Kamrul Islam from Cotton Development Board. Third webinar was research and development of bioengineered crops in Bangladesh phase 2. The speakers were Dr. Muhammad Abdul Kader from Bangladesh Rice Research Institute, and I was also one of the keynote speaker on that webinar. Fourth webinar was the success of trading and commercialization of bioengineered crops in Bangladesh. 2 speakers, keynote speakers were Dr. Bijoy Pranjape and Dr. Akhtar Ahmed from IFPRI, and Bijoy Pranjape from the Life Science Advisory Committee and Cornell University, USA. And today is the 5th webinar was Biotechnology Policy and Regulatory Framework. In that webinar, we had 3 speakers, Professor Dr. Rakha Hori Sarkar from University of Dhaka, and he is also country representative of South Asian Biosafety Program. The other 2 speakers, Dr. Aparna Islam, Professor Brack University, and Dr. Andrew Roberts, CEO, Agriculture and Food Systems Institute, Washington, D.C. And today is our 6th webinar, the last webinar. And the last webinar, I would like to share with you, and I'm very much excited to share with you that we have 2 world scholar, Dr. Swapan Datta, Professor, University of Calcutta, former Vice Chancellor, Vishwabharati, and Deputy Director General, Crop, ICAR. And the second keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Moinus Salam, Adjunct Faculty, University of Australia. And Professor Moinus Salam, he was my teacher when I was an undergrad student at Bangladesh Agriculture University. I welcome all the keynote speakers, both keynote speakers, as well as the representative from the USAID, Ms. Rebecca Robinson, and members of the panelists from USAID, USDA, the Change Initiative, and all the participants who significantly contributed to make all of our webinars very interactive and meaningful through their comments and questions. I am expecting similar responses from the audiences also. And I would like to short my speech here and now welcome Ms. Rebecca Robinson to give a brief overview of the activities of U.S. government in promoting the bioengineered crops and biotechnology in Bangladesh, because U.S. is a #1 country in terms of technological innovations, discoveries in biotechnology, as well as the users. And Bangladesh has been receiving tremendous support from the US government for capacity building, as well as the promoting of biotechnology for the application in the agriculture and for ensuring the food and nutritional security, which is very important area for the nation. My welcome, Ms. Rebecca Robinson. She is the director of USAID in Bangladesh, and to deliver her speech. Welcome, Rebecca.
Good evening and good morning. If you don't mind, I have a delivery coming and I don't want it to interrupt my speech. So please give me 1 minute and let me collect my delivery and I'll be right with you. I'm so sorry. Just give me 1 minute. Thank you.
It's okay. And within 1 minute, I would like to inform all the participants, please ask your question and comments through the question answer box as well as the chat box. The speaker, after their presentation, they shall give the replies.
All right, sorry about that. I'll just go ahead and get started. Good evening and good morning, everyone. It's so great to be here again. I've been to about 3 or 4 webinars, and they've been very interesting. And this is also an interesting topic. Today's topic is biotechnology and climate smart agriculture, which is a very important issue, not just in Bangladesh, but also in the US. Part of these reasons is that it enhances the partnership opportunities with Bangladesh. It utilizes science and technology to support food security. And it also enhanced opportunities for social and economic development and private sector engagement. The partnership, the USG enjoys a strong ongoing collaboration with the government of Bangladesh, sharing many excellent examples of enhanced partnership for food security, for agriculture research and extension. We also work closely within the US government, and I like to acknowledge and support the cooperation, as Dr. Islam has mentioned, from the US Department of Agriculture and the US Department of State in tonight's event, in addition to USAID. In Bangladesh, we've enjoyed also a long history of supporting agriculture research, technology development, technology transfer, capacity building of scientists, extension and dissemination of innovative technologies in terms of obtaining food security for Bangladeshi people. This support has contributed to Bangladesh's success in significantly refining its agriculture over the years and ultimately making the country a food secure country. These successes can serve as excellent examples highlighting Bangladesh's leadership within the Indo-Pacific region and across the globe. Tonight, we look forward to learning more about climate smart agriculture, as it is an emerging issue and is repeatedly a threat on agriculture, such as natural calamities or food disaster, drought, greenhouse effects, etc. Also, these issues of biotechnology can play an important role developing innovative and cutting-edge technologies for climate smart agriculture. We'll continue to interact with representatives of the government, academia, researchers, scientists, civil society organizations, and the private sector. I want to thank you again for being here tonight to discuss these important issues and the role of biotechnology in developing climate smart agriculture. Through our discussions, we'll benefit from exploring new ideas and concepts from the expert speakers today. We'll all become even more relevant to food security and development in Bangladesh and to advance science and technology for supporting an open, prosperous, and secure Indo-Pacific region. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for a nice overview about the US-Bangladesh partnership for promoting the agri-Biotechnology and also for addressing the climate change and other issues and making the agriculture climate smart or like that. And now I would like to invite our first keynote speaker, Dr. Shapon Dotto, who is a professor of the University of Calcutta and former Vice Chancellor Vishwabharati, uh, Deputy Director General of ICAR India. And he's going to talk on climate smart agricultural development, mainly focus the global and regional perspectives of uh, climate change impacts at the present and future, and how can we address the issues of climate change, which by the application of advanced technology like biotechnology. Before I invite him, I would like to briefly introduce some of the important points from his illustrious CV. Dr. Shapon Dotto is a well-known plant scientist with vast experience in plant biotechnology, agricultural science, and global agriculture policy, and currently holding the first Vice Chancellor of Vishwa Bangla University. Former Vice Chancellor Vishwa Bharati University, Shantiniketan, from 2016 to 2018, and also he was the Deputy Director General of ICR New Delhi, and DBT Distinguished Biotechnology Research Professor at University of Calcutta, and he is a fellow of DAAD in Germany from 1985 to 1986, visiting faculty at University of California, Davis, USA in 1989, and also he holds the position of senior scientist at ETH Zurich, Switzerland, from 1987 to 1993. And he was a FMI fellow at Basel, senior scientist and Harvest Plus global rice crop leader at International Rice Research Institute, Philippines from 1993 to 2005. Dr. Dotto is an elected fellow of several national and international fellowship, including FNA, FASC, FNASC, FNAS, and Fellow of the World Academy of Science. He is the recipient of several prestigious awards, including Paul Jones Broll Memorial Medal 2009 and Ponchanon Maheshwari Medal for significant contribution in embryogenesis and plant biotechnology. He supervised 40 PhD students from different countries, including Bangladesh, India, Philippines, Portugal, Myanmar, Vietnam, China, and others. And he published more than 150 research articles, which appeared in Nature, Science, Nature Genetics, Nature Biotechnology, and others. Dr. Dotto has been named as one among the top 25 Indian scientists from all fields of science and top 2% of global scientists in his field based on Stanford University Global Data of Research Contribution. This is very brief about a highly illustrious and world-famous scientist in plant biotechnology, Dr. Shapon Dotto. I salute him there, and also I got touch with him and highly inspired by his robust work and contribution to our field of biotechnology. May I welcome Dr. Shapon Dotto to deliver your speech, and I would like to request you to limit your speech 20 minutes so that the participants can have enough time to get your interaction. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Shapon Dotto.
Thank you very much, Professor Islam. While listening this so much of these good things, I forgot that what I have to talk now. Anyway, I'm glad that to be invited for this change initiative and also your intervention, definitely. And as well as I'm thankful to the support from USDA, USAID, US Embassy in Bangladesh, and also today's other speaker, Professor Salam, and also Jackie Roshan Khan, that who are organizing this meeting today. I'm grateful for the invitation. That I'm glad that I'll be able to talk something with related the present science and related to climate change. And as far as, although the time is limited, but I would try to be in a brief manner to cover the subject so that one could get a sort of an idea about the modern sort of science. um, as the screen is there.
Yes,
Hello.
the screen is clear. Yes.
Okay. Well, this is my topic, role of agriculture biotechnology for the crop development or agriculture development, and particularly with the climate smart or climate resilient crop development. So what we're targeting here, the climate smart crop development, and in the perspective of global and regional perspective. Obviously, there will be impact of climate change on biotic as well as abiotic stress, and the science and the tools available to us, that is genetic gains, and that's related to also the biodiversity. The tools are what we have today: transgenesis, genomics, genome editing, and particularly in the context of drought, salinity, and temperature tolerance. But the science cannot move or cannot be done or cannot help to the people who need them most unless the policies and strategies to promote climate smart agriculture and also adoption of biotech. No, I was glad to listen, Ms. Rebecca Robinson, that the support they're giving to Bangladesh, as well as I had the opportunity to have tremendous support from USAID at ERI while working on Golden Rise. I think that's important for this context to move on. Now, one of the meeting that Dr. Ismail Serageldin giving a talk, I was there, and one of his title, as it strikes me very much, we must become the new abolitionist of hunger and poverty. The reason simple that 2020 today, 2022 or 2050, our population would move from 7 to 10 billion. South Asia, 1.9 billion, Bangladesh, 167 million, India, 1.39 billion, and 281 million malnourished, and strikingly 75% of the people are agriculture dependent and with a low productivity, and 30 to 50% more cereals need to be produced. Now, this is the one slide. I like it very much. If you see the 200 plus years of genesis, Darwin, Mendel, Watson, we all know that. The contributions in overall science as well as in agriculture and biology. Now, these two ladies, particularly administrators, the Montagu, Maridel Chilton, and Ralph Fraley. They are the champions to promote the agriculture biotechnology for development of product development. And of course, we know Norman Borlaug, the Nobel laureate for Green Revolution, and his contribution is significant that the worldwide today what we are utilizing it. The one lady in the panel that I have kept, respected Matia Chaudhary. I had the opportunity to travel with her to US and many places I have been with her. If C.B. Subramaniam did something for the success of Green Revolution in India, And this is Matia Chaudhary made revolutionary changes in Bangladesh policy. The way she adapted the policy for biotech in Bangladesh, and today the fruit the Bangladesh as the world are watching. So I salute to Matia Chaudhary. This kind of policymakers are very important for, particularly for South Asia countries. The climate change is definitely a reality and it will go on. It's not that climate change is today. Today, things are moving very fast, but the things have been there thousands of years and so on and so. And continuously it would be changing and it would move on. The beauty of science and technology that we are dealing today, that we would be able to mitigate or we would be able to develop the system where our crops, animals, and other living organisms can survive. And we know how to do that. And that's the beauty today that technology can address that issue. Now, either you take it, the climate is likely to be warmer, or you take it CO2 levels, it's continuously getting increased. And sometimes it might even say that there are research papers that tells us that even if CO2 levels reached even more than 600 or 550 ppm, the salicylic acid and jasmonic acid pathway could be disrupted, meaning that the disease resistant for the plants might break down, and that could be a disaster. But anyway, but the things again, there are issues are being addressed, and we're learning how to utilize this CO2, and still there are plans to be developed that plants can survive with the more CO2 or utilize the CO2 so that the yield cannot be compromised. If you look into this panel, drought, heat, salt, and flood, they're always there everywhere, not only in Bangladesh, as well as India and many other Southeast Asia countries. If you look the production scale, and that remains more or less same, it's not increasing, but that is, potential yield is much higher, and there is a yield gap. And that shows that the climate change could make even more difficult for increasing that yield gap, and we got to do something more aggressively to address that issue. Good thing is that there are germplasm, not only rice at Erie, but elsewhere in many different countries. And those germplasm of rice, pulses, wheat, and other crops, you see the first one that shows tolerant to drought. So there are materials available in the gene bank, and they could show their tolerance level of different traits, what we're interested. And this tolerance only could come because of the genes or genetic makeup of the plant. And we need to understand that genetic makeup and to utilize it in our desirable cultivar. Here a slide that I love this slide, and the left side, that Shaminathan, Robert Chandler, Mohammed Yunus, they're the administrators of the different forms and different development. They're policymakers, and they made a lot of issues that made big changes. Mohammed is also a board member of IRI, so there was a lot of contribution, all these people from that perspective. Now, the right panel, the Henry Bichel and Gurdev Khush, they are the people that made the changes of rice architecture, and today's high-yielding rice varieties mostly came from the initial work of them, and particularly Dr. Khush's contribution is significant. Now, Yang Lengping and from China, the father of hybrid rice, and Monty Jones from Africa, who made the rice variety for Africa. So their contributions is tremendously important. And this is a continuous process. The plant breeding give us the new material for different sort of traits and addressing the climate change. The Green Revolution was successful because of two genes. One is for rice SD1 and one is for wheat RH1. Now, that makes the plant reduce the apical dominance and resulting multiple tillers and give the high yield. And this concept, when Borlaug started, Borlaug was not knowing about all the genetic makeup, but today the scientists know that. And more genome sequencing when available, this work is moving much faster. So this is the very important contribution that came to understand this particular concept. Now, if you look at this slide from 1900, 2015 and onwards, 2015 onwards is definitely the biotech and including the climate resilient crop development, rice development, and the crop design. So it's a continuous process of new trait to be improved, new development to come in and make the model of that particular rice plant to move on, including the Yang Lengping's concept of hybrid rice. Now, the present concept is not that short or dwarf, rather a bit taller, and so that with not many tillers, but some medium numbers, 8 to 10 functional tillers for the hybrid rice concept. One of the work that UC Davis did with the submergence tolerant rice, I would put a few examples of those kind of things that shows the success story about those research work and what it developed and how it can make the changes. One is one SAV1 gene that could make a difference of submergence tolerant plant. And today I know that many scientists all over Asia, as well as India and elsewhere, they're combining SAV1 with the drought and temperature tolerant gene together, pyramiding different genes together, not only for submergence, but with others. Here is another example of PAV1 gene for phosphorus efficient rice development. Kaushala, this one rice variety from Bangladesh, actually was the key source for this particular gene. And the Japanese scientists and IRI collaboration, they developed this. And this could make a big differences in future for this kind of specific trait development in rice. Our own work with the DREP genes, that DREP is a kind of drought, salinity, and temperature tolerant transcription factor gene driven by stress-inducible promoter RD29A, and that gives the rice plant tolerant to both drought and salinity. The beauty of this research, that what we found, the confocal microscope study, that shows that the transgenic plant, the stomatal aperture remained closed, and the non-transgenic or control plant remains open. And meaning that it retained the water during the daytime, and that's the way the plant becomes that without water also plant can survive for a pretty long time. Now C4 rice, C4 potato, these are possibilities because it can stand more drought and can work with high temperature and also with less water. And so there are a lot of work going on, and hopefully there will be some success. We did some work in the initial stage, and more work is coming from an international platform. One of the interesting studies that it shows that the high temperature with the high humidity, that rice plant becomes more susceptible to disease and particularly bacterial blight. With the low temperature, with the low humidity, just the opposite. So that means the climate change, even for the disease, also would have an impact, and that need to be addressed. I mentioned about genome sequencing. This is definitely the most important component today. Most of the plant species are being sequenced. With the sequencing information available to us, that would be able to know that how the plant genome structure is conserved and are being structured. With that, we would know more traits and genes linked to the traits, and and we can either by transgenic or by genome editing, we'd be able to handle those trait improvement. Here is some of the ICRISAT work. You see the germplasm. There's a huge number of germplasm available in the gene bank. And then many of these germplasm are also drought and salinity tolerant. So we need to understand that germplasm directly may not be used in the field because they may not be high yielding, but they do have the trait. So understanding that trait, we can incorporate the genes by different ways in our desirable cultivar. Now, a few minutes, I'll be talking on genome editing, and this is the very powerful tools. For a long time, we have been working on tDNA insertion and tDNA disruption, and now the things with the CRISPR-Cas9 that we know that it can transfer or insert a gene or disrupt a gene, and the other undesirable vehicle of this gene transfer can be separated out by segregation. This can be done also by other method that we have shown it before, but the genome editing, it becomes more easier to handle it. This is more in details of the mechanism of genome editing, how it works. Either it's a indel mutation, base substitution, targeted insertion, targeted deletion, chromosomal rearrangement. Now, believe me that all of these things are also found in conventional breeding. So nothing that conventional breeding does not have it. The only thing with the genome editing, that the concept of this entire breeding can expedite or can precisely or in a targeted manner this can be done, and that's the beauty of the genome editing, with the less compromise or the less other difficulties that what we have today. I would now just put a few example of genome editing product that we have. One is drought guard maize, and that this is definitely an CSPB1, the cold shock protein B, one of the genes that keeps the plant protein production continuous. And that the way that plant can survive under drought condition without doing much of other work. One example of Argos 8 variants that it also shows that under field drought stress condition, the maize grain yield, maize can have a higher yield. So this is another example of for this particular aspect. Now, many times we have been hearing that the rice paddies are the largest anthropogenic methane source. So even sometimes people say that rice production need to be reduced, etc., etc. But today we know that barley Shushiba2 gene that's allow the photosynthase to be above the ground level and not going towards the root system. So that would allow the methane gas emission would be much less. So the greenhouse gas emission, greenhouse issues, and environmental issues by climate change also can be addressed. So this is another very good example of what this science can do. Now, here is the triple knockout that rice created by CRISPR-Cas9 that give a higher temperature tolerance. So one of the things that for particularly wheat, when it's harvesting time, the temperature goes very high, and even another 1 or 2 degrees centigrade of temperature high, the harvest would be very poor. And even sometimes even in the field, the water need to be given to cool down. But now there are genes available, and with genome editing, this can make a revolutionary changes. Similarly, that there are genes now that OSDST that can give drought and salt tolerant rice. This work just came from IRI. And one of the other interesting part that came from this group, that EPFL10, it reduces stomatal density. If there is a less stomata, obviously the plant would transpire less water, but without compromising that photosynthesis and so on. So that's why it's a very good example that how this can go on. So by mutant tomato, by genome editing, clearly you see the picture. The CRISPR mutant is higher yield than the control. Now, the herbicide tolerance, the very good work and review came from Kutub Ali Mullah, one of my former student, Fulbright fellow, and he's a bright fellow, and now he's working at National Rice Research Institute. So his work, his group work, shows that that herbicide tolerance definitely minimizing the greenhouse gas emission, and this is a very powerful tool and powerful contribution. And it is not only for rice, rapeseed, corn, soybean, watermelon, wheat, all of these crops that can be developed using that system. Today, that one project, UK has started Ocean Agriculture. They mentioned the name that to develop salinity tolerant plant for the saline belt area. So this is a very significant international project that has taken up. Now, Bangladesh as well as India, jute is a very important crop, and definitely these three publications shows that initiated by Muhammad Shahidul Islam and the first author, and other two work that one from India, one from China. So the jute genome sequencing is very much in fine tuning, and that could give tremendous improvement of the jute, and obviously. In future, we have done some work on disease tolerant, disease resistance, but designer jute is obviously possible now with the genome editing and transgenic research after genome sequencing work is done. So the next generation genetics in plants, we could imagine that the design, everything would be in the laboratory, genome sequencing, trait, genes, linkage, everything would be designed. And then within a greenhouse condition, phenotypic expression would be governed. And finally, within a short time, this can be generated. Now, this is one slide, the photosynthesis. We know that this is the basic and fundamental. And when there is environmental stress or climate change, what happens? Plants produce a lot of vitamins, antioxidants, and other phytochemicals. And that's actually what you have today, golden rice. Now, the golden rice, as you know, that phyton synthase, phyton desetches, lycopene cyclase, these three genes are driven by endosperm-specific promoter and expressed in rice seed, and that gives the golden rice. In the picture, what you see, Ingopotricus Peter Bayer, Korbidatta, and one of my student that's in the East greenhouse. And the golden rice today, definitely the US FDA approved it. The ERIS sort of food safety studies. Philippines now approved it. It can go on. Many other countries also approved it that can be utilized. We have published one commentary note on talking about this and the constraint and difficulties. But the beauty is Bangladesh shows the way. Bangladesh already made it field evaluated, and this is fantastic. I congratulate the group of people, international collaboration that happened in Bangladesh, and they made the way it should be. This is my last slide, I guess, where we see conventional breeding, genetic engineering, and genome editing. I do not see any differences between all three. It's a difference is only the concept, time, and how you want to do it. Definitely, all of the things are required, are integrated. For the genome editing, that you would, if you know all these things, and then you just precisely either do a deletion, addition, or disrupt a gene, susceptible gene, etc. And finally, you get a product what you wish to. This is my last slide. The changing scenario of climate change resulted crop yield loss. That's in the beginning, it was mentioned. An agri-Biotech adaptation does make sense for addressing climate smart agriculture development. Global science innovations definitely for inclusive growth for local needs. That's what we are talking today. Gains, one is genetics and one is economic. Both are needed. I need a functional and sustainable agri-biotechnology policy. And that's what we had it before Matthias Chaudhary, and at the same time it is continue to happen in Bangladesh and some other countries. And finally, remunerative agriculture ensures sustainable food security. So that's the way we have to put everything together. Once again, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk. I hope uh, I could make sense to in a very short time with a large number of slides and to make it together. But thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It is one of the finest speech I have ever heard on biotechnology and genetic engineering. You covered almost all of the emerging issues and topics, as well as that we are dreaming to go. And thank you very much for mentioning your student Kutub Ali Mugla. I collaborated with him a book, CRISPR-Cas methods. We are editing together, and he was a Fulbright visiting a scholar at Pennsylvania State University. Very good. Thank you so much. And we can have a couple of questions from the audience. And also any comment, and it is a great opportunity for the participants. You can ask a question or comments in the question comments box or chat box, and then we shall go to invite our second speaker. You rightly mentioned that genomics is very important. We need to invest for genome sequencing so that we can have a large volume of data for analyzing and decoding the secret of the natural resources. Lots of things, ocean of things are still remained. Yes, I guess we received one question. Yes, excellent presentation. Many people are appreciating because it was an excellent presentation, and the genomics gamete of genomics. Yes. Any other question? Many participants, they appreciated, they amazed by your presentation, and actually your work is a big inspiration for us who are working on this area.
One thing I would like to mention here,
Yeah,
many of my work are also contribution of students from Bangladesh. So there are at least five students from five scientists who did PhD with me at IRI. They are now professors or associate professor in Bangladesh. So, and at least three of them work also on golden rice. So I'm very grateful to those people that who worked with me, including students from Bangladesh.
Excellent. Thank you so much for offering your training and you giving your thoughts to our next generation's scholars. And we need some scholars who can run and utilize these frontiers technology for the benefit of our people. Thank you so much, Dr. Shopon Dotto. I shall be very happy. We shall be very happy if you stay with us, because we have another keynote speaker. And after the presentation of Professor Dr. Moinus Salah, then we may have some more questions. So okay. I am going to move to invite Professor Dr. Moin Salam, who is an adjunct faculty of University of Western Australia, and he is going to talk about the Bangladesh perspectives. He is a leading agronomist and specialist in crop modeling. I would like to briefly share some of his background. Dr. Moinus Salam is an agricultural scientist internationally recognized as agrosystems analyst and forecaster of crop diseases, and an expert of agricultural sector transformation. Dr. Salam earned a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture and Masters of Science in Agronomy. Both he secured first position in the merit list in our favorite university, Bangladesh Agriculture University. For his outstanding academic performances, he received Chancellor Award in 1987 and the President by the President of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. And he also received University Prize in 1995 by the Chancellor of BAU. He obtained Commonwealth Scholarship Award in 1989 by the Commonwealth Commission of London for doing his PhD at the University of Reading in England. He received Islamic Development Bank Merit Scholarship for conducting postdoctoral research at the University of Florida, Gainesville in USA. His professional career began in 1987 at the Bangladesh Agricultural University as a scientist in the agroforestry sector, and later he became the lecturer in 1988 in the Department of Agronomy. Dr. Salam served the Department of Agriculture and Food, Western Australia, for 17 years and held the position of a principal research officer, which was the highest level attainable for a practicing scientist in the public service of the government of Western Australia. Previously, in 1997, he joined a Japanese team for studying the effects of future climate change on rice ecosystems, especially under elevated carbon dioxide concentrations using free air carbon dioxide enrichment technique. Currently, Dr. Salam working as a freelance international consultant. His recent work places included FAO, CIMIT, USAID, ED, and the University of Western Australia. And he has published over 90 refereed papers, predominantly in reported international journals, and 39 papers in conference proceedings, and 15 articles in the book chapters. Dr. Moinus Salam is happily married with Dr. Bodrunasa, who is also a senior scientist of our leading research institute, Bangladesh Rice Research Institute. They are blessed with 3 children. And I'm very happy to note here that I was also a co-author of one of our publication on the determination of origin of wheat blast in Bangladesh in 2016 with Professor Moinus Salam. Now I would like to invite my teacher and a great professor and leading researcher, Professor Dr. Moinus Salam, for delivering his talk. Sir, it is your turn.
Thank you, Professor Islam. Actually, it's not me. Actually, I was a co-author for this famous paper, which was led by you. Ladies and gentlemen, participating in this webinar, we all know there are many men in the world, and the Scottish writer Tobias Somerset added, some men are wise and some are otherwise. For this particular forum, I am in the group of otherwise. So I will ask your forgiveness for my limitations. In the four corners of the world, and in the middle or its periphery, today, tomorrow, day after, or remote future, as long as humans live, anything can stop for any circumstances, but not agriculture. This is the absolute truth. Why this is the truth? This is because agriculture was born by the people and for the people to create, build, and maintain human well-being by facilitating fundamental needs. Agriculture made humans to settle. Human settlement created human society. and it led human civilization. Agriculture established the root of social security for humans. It is the weapon of national political power and international bargaining power for supremacy. In its journey, agriculture has been progressing phase by phase to achieve its goals: survivability, productivity, sustainability, and product quality by adopting dynamic approaches, beginning from domestication to advanced gene technology. Through this process, Bangladesh has gained a lot from agriculture. From the dense darkness of night, Bangladesh has started seeing soft and brighter light of the dawn. Surprising to many, Bangladesh has emerged as a global model for combating hunger and obtained greater success in becoming a country food surplus from a country lagged with chronic food shortages. The country has transformed from so-called basket case to full of food basket. Agriculture has made Bangladesh proud. The question being asked, can the country keep up this momentum? The question is being asked because of the challenges. The challenge due to changing world surrounding Bangladesh agriculture. Let's have a look at the year 2020. Wheat crop experienced unprecedented leaf rust during February to April. COVID-19 erupted in March and continued throughout the year. Cyclone Amphan hammered in May. 6 monsoonal floods occurred during June to September. Heavy rain damaged early planting transplant rice in October. December experienced heavy fog and severe cold. And there was a problem with maize, the fall armyworm. Not long ago, wheat blast disease made welcome visit for the first time, threatening wheat industry of Bangladesh. While area under wheat cropping reduced in this country, our neighbor granted wheat a holiday for a season or two. Predicted or unpredicted, cyclones, drought, flooding, salinity, pests and diseases, and newly added COVID-19 are the adversities surrounding Bangladesh agriculture, which can turn the country's green crop landscape into gray. The question, if this happens, can research and development revert agriculture? It is undebated that Bangladesh is extremely vulnerable to the effects of climate change. Global Climate Risk Index has ranked Bangladesh as the world's seventh most affected country over the period of 1999 through to 2018. Climate change is already affecting agricultural production through temperature increases, sea level rise, saltwater intrusion, rainfall variability, and extreme weather events. The country has demarcated adverse ecosystems and agroecologically constrained area with respect to salinity, hill and river erosion, waterlogging, low moisture, flash flooding, and deep inundation. Based on internationally recognized climate models, the risk of insect pests and diseases on crops under current and future climate has been assessed. It is predicted that the severity of important insect pests would be expected with regional variation in near and remote future. Diseases on different crops would expect to pose threat in near and remote future as well. Meaning, unless alternate technologies are innovated, there will be no letting up of agrochemical use in agriculture and lessening its impact on environment. The surroundings of Bangladesh agriculture are changing in other dimensions in addition to climate change, demand, resources, and market. especially on the demand of quality of produces in terms of its taste, its nutrition, and its safety, and alarmingly decreasing agricultural resources, especially cropland and labor. Development and application of climate smart agriculture is ongoing and in early stage in Bangladesh. Those mainly center around crop varieties, with shorter growth duration, partially tolerant to stresses with moderate yield potential and climate smartness level, and few management practices such as fertilizer application in rice and ribbon rating in jute. A specialized cultivation method for cultivation of vegetables like sojourn, floating beds, on nets over ponds, conservation agriculture, commercial livestock fattening, year-round aquaculture, and cultivation of small indigenous fish species. However, the adoption of most of the technologies related to climate smart agriculture to growers level is limited. This is because CSA technologies did not fully address three essential adoption criteria. Rooted with biotech or non-biotech, CSA technologies need to be taken care of the three adoption criteria: profitability, practicality, and understandability of farming systems. In the middle, I shown profitability, that is return on investment. This is the prime consideration of present-day agriculture in Bangladesh. This can be achieved through increasing productivity, keeping the cost as it is, or maintaining current productivity but reducing production cost, or increasing productivity and reducing production cost. The third option is obviously the best but challenging. On the right hand side, I showed practicality. Practicality often becomes an issue for adopting CSA technology, even when the technology meets the profitability criterion. Alternate wetting and drying or AWD system for irrigation is an example here. Nobody argues on its merits, but its field scale implementation has not been possible due to lack of synchronized rice production system under community-based irrigation schemes. Urea supergranule, locally known as Guti urea, has technical difficulty under farmers level for its application. CSA technology, if passes through the profitability and practicality criteria, may still fail to wide-scale adoption. It happens because technologies does not fit into farmers' farming system. Ladies and gentlemen, farming system is not simply a collection of crops and animals to which one can apply his input and expect immediate result. Rather, it is a complicated interwoven mesh of soil, plants, and animals, implementation, workers, and other inputs, environmental influences, with the strand held and manipulated by a person. We call him the farmer, who, given his preferences and aspirations, attempts to produce outputs by using technology available to him. It is the farmer's unique understanding of his immediate environment, both natural and socio-economic, that results in his farming systems. Slow progress in crop diversification, a key CSA approach, is an example of mismatching the approach with the understandability of farming systems of Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, there are two pathways now exist side by side to provide therapy to climate change. One that I've been highlighting so far is essentially curative. It has shortcomings, few of which I tried to explain, and its action is rather slow. Thus, Visibility so far is usually blurred. The other pathway, the agri-biotechnology, which is partly curative but essentially preventive. It is a tedious process and time consuming. Restlessness, anxiety, dissatisfaction, and agony of mind often surround the scientists who work on biotechnology. But those criteria or anxieties nourish the science, as remarked by Jacques Monod, the French biochemist who shared 1965 Nobel Prize with his fellow researchers. Biotechnology has great opportunities to create a strong to create a strong base with the adversity by addressing the climate change and resulting adversities to meet the important component of CSA, the sustainability, through increasing agricultural productivity, nutrition, product safety, and of course, farmers' income. Now, what are the options then? The biotechnology contributing to CSA in Bangladesh. Agri-biotechnology can spread in four wings. Number one, productivity. Increasing productivity under favorable ecosystem, saline ecosystem, and drought ecosystem. To maintain the current self-sufficiency status of rice by 2050, Bangladesh would need a rice variety having 12.4 ton per hectare yield potential for long duration favorable boro ecosystem, 8.81 ton per hectare for saline prone transplant almond ecosystem, and 7.88 ton per hectare for drought prone ecosystem. The second one is biotic tolerance, increasing tolerance to insect pests and diseases. Third, input use efficiency, specifically nitrogen and water use efficiency. And number four is biofortification, enhancing the availability of vitamins and minerals for people whose diets are dominated by micronutrient poor staple food crops. How Bangladesh are progressing so far? PT brinjal, Bari PT begun 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are uh, fruit and shoot borer resistant, has been released and estimated to be growing by 150,000 farmers in Bangladesh. As Professor Datta mentioned, the golden rice to address vitamin A deficiency, it's now waiting for government's approval. The blight resistance of potato, the lead blight, at the Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute is undergoing greenhouse testing and limited field trial. Bangladesh Rice Research Institute has released 5 rice varieties. It is worthy to mention here that 3 scientists from Biotechnology Division of BRI has received Ekushe Padak 2022, the second highest civilian award in Bangladesh, introduced in memory of the martyrs of the language movement of 1952. Bangladesh Jute Research Institute released jute variety BJRI Tosa 8, also known as Robi 1, through biotechnological work. It is again worthy to note that BJRI sequenced the genome of rice plants back in 2010. Genomic sequence of Hilsha fish is done, and a lot of work being done on wheat blast resistance through genomic approaches. There are some urgent calls for biotech, reviving aging pulse industry of Bangladesh. On the left figure, I tried to sketch the typical farmer's pulse field size in Bangladesh compared with Western Australia. It is tiny, about 1/60th of Western Australian field size. In spite of that you would notice on the figure on the right that within yield variability shown by up and down arrows in lentil. This is because of crop dominance due to two diseases. The two diseases are the root rot and stem phylum blight. So, so what happens that even if you don't do anything, just keep managing these two diseases, you can increase the yield by 21%. The problem is the management is very, very expensive, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. So here is a call for the biotechnologists if we can take care of these diseases to boost our pulses industry. Now, another area that an urgent call for biotech. There is a severe headache of the government to maintain subsidy on fertilizer in the background of international price hike. During 2021, Bangladesh government spent 32 taka per kilogram of urea to sell to the farmers at 16 taka per kilogram. To sell the same price to the farmers this year, government is buying at the rate of 92 taka per kilogram urea. Government cannot keep going with this forever. Can biotechnology contribute here, finding mechanisms of increased fertilizer use efficiency in crops? Bangladesh government has formulated National Agriculture Policy 2018 approved by the Honorable Prime Minister. The eighth five-year plan started in July 2020 in relation to agriculture is being implemented as directed by the policy. Section 3.3.6 provides 5 directions for climate change agriculture. Determination of the impact of climate change on crops and natural resources, research on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, finding and developing innovative technologies for adverse environment, and engaging non-government organizations in developing stress-tolerant varieties and technologies. Section 3.3.2 provides 5 directions on biotechnological research. Research on identification and relocation of genetically controlled agronomic properties and breaking the yield ceiling. Genomic research for development of varieties suitable for adverse environment. Establishing and preserving gene bank and agricultural information of crops, and encouraging scientists to undertake fundamental research for developing stress tolerance varieties. Ladies and gentlemen, I started my talk strongly highlighting the mighty power of agriculture contributing to human civilization. Few highly reputed scholars of the world, like Professor Harris of Stanford University, greatly underestimated this power. In his famous book, published in 1968, entitled The Population Bomb, Professor Harris predicted population pressure will cause death of hundreds of millions of people in the world from starvation due to unprecedented famine in 1970s and 1980s that will include Americans, British, and Indians. But it did not happen. It did not happen because agriculture staged green revolution, which was not even think of that famous professor. During 1970s, the canola industry in Australia totally collapsed from a killer disease called black leg or former stem canker. The industry now is fully revived thanks to biotechnology. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow belongs to us. if we can hear it is coming. We hear the tomorrow of Bangladesh, increasing population. Increasing population will demand more production and more smart technology. But more population also means more hands to work. And importantly, more brains to think. Biotechnology brain will be our asset for future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for a thought-provoking and comprehensive talk. Really amazed. You covered almost all of the topics, and you are the last speaker in our sixth webinar series. And you covered almost all of the things, and you also mentioned and give us lots of questions for the biotechnologies for our future work, for having climate smart agriculture, our targets, our challenges, and how we should move on. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to check. There are some questions already. Many questions. Some of the questions to Dr. Shapun Dotto. Are you here, sir?
Yeah.
Dr. Moinus Salam, sir. Thank you, Moinus Salam, sir, for nice presentation. Above mentioned question for you all. That is, which are the most important crop for climate smart agriculture in Bangladesh? Asked by Dr. Kwasha Mahmood, a CSO of BSRI. Both of you can make question, but specific crop he asked because he is working on sugar crops.
Okay. There are few crops. The sunflower is very prominent, especially in saline area. So it has great potential. Uh, Not all the varieties of sugarcane kushal. So that's my understanding from the field. But this is getting much attention for climate smart crop in Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another question to respected Shapon Dotto sir from Mr. Mohammad Raihanul Haq. Thanks for your nice session. Potato is now using throughout the world, but being a diabetic patient, some peoples are not allowed to consume it. So, is there any way to develop new potato varieties for diabetic patients through genome editing? When we would get the products? Nice question.
I think it's a very good question, and specifically, I would say that there are certain potato varieties are now being developed at Potato Research Institute in India, and also the Peru Potato Research Institute. They have been doing that work. The slow release of that carbohydrate, and particularly the starch breakdown. So these are the things not yet in the final stage, but definitely there are tremendous progress has been made in the last few years, and I'm sure very quickly that this could be a possibility. Not only that, low glycemic index rice varieties are available. So those who would like to enjoy rice, even a diabetic patient can enjoy the rice. With particularly the আউশ ধান, even বাংলাদেশে আউশ ধানের প্রচুর প্রচলিত আছে এবং প্রচুর মানুষেরা আউশ ধান খায়। আউশ ধানটা ধীরে ধীরে চলে যাচ্ছে, কিন্তু এই আউশ ধান has a very low glycemic index. যার জন্য the people, the hard-working people, the fishermen and others, they normally use that particular rice, and they don't feel hungry even after working many hours because it is not quickly digested. It takes slow digestion, and because of the low glycemic index, that helps the people for that kind of thing. So we should not be worried. If we can identify what we need, we can find a solution and find the crop.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Another question from Mohammad Kamrul Hassan. till today, tremendous achievements were found in biotechnological research for commercialization of insect and disease resistance, herbicide tolerance, but not in climate resilient crops like salinity, heat, drought, cold, or flooding tolerance in the practical field. What are the reasons behind it? Dr. Shapan Dotto, please.
Probably I may not agree to this, that there's not much work done. I think CIMMET, IRI, as well as from elsewhere, ICRISAT, all the international organization, and as well as globally, many research labs, the concept of those drought, salinity, and low or high temperature resistant or tolerant crop have been developed. Even in Japan, they're the pioneer in drip work that has been well known and demonstrated very well. And one gene can work against the salinity, drought, as well as temperature. So only thing that in case of insect resistant like BT cotton or BT other BT crops or herbicide tolerant crop, it's a package. The package is very easy to commercialize, but the abiotic stress, drought, salinity, it's difficult to formulate that kind of package. It is a management, so it's not just a package; it is more management. Now, the management, the commercialization with the management practice is not very practical because from the commercial point of view and from the private sector's point of view. But the research and the concept has been well demonstrated. That works very well. Herbicide tolerant crops available, that's for sure, commercially available because there is again good management practice is there. But the drought and salinity is a complex mechanism. There are many other factors, environmental factors are involved. So that would take a bit more time or at least I mentioned in my presentation the drought tolerant maize have been developed. And I'm sure that in a few years' time from now, this will be part of integrated in plant breeding. I wish that genomic research and genome edited crops, many countries already it is deregulated. So if we can deregulate the genome editing plants, or if we assume that it is equivalent to the conventional breeding, I think more progress, more demonstration would come in the field, and we have to wait till that time comes. The science is there, and the development is there, demonstration is there. It's a policy matter that delaying the commercialization.
Excellent. Last question to you. Do you think genome editing may cause new disease by natural mutation asked by ASM Nasib, Mr. ASM Nasib?
I didn't get it. What is the question? Is it a natural mutation or
do you think genome editing may causes new diseases by natural mutation?
Well, anything you do it, that is something it may come, it may emerge. And we wish something that maybe always there is an unintended, but the conventional breeding or mutation breeding, the amount, the volume of unintended effect would come. With the genome editing, the chances are almost nil or remote. I would not say 100% is not there, but always if you're changing something, you are making something that is and one best pair change, one best substitution could make so much of difference. So there is always a little bit possibility, but I would say it is very less chances that it would lead to any deleterious mutation. Rather, it is more precise, and after development, we can always see the phenotype expression and can select the line that we intended to have that particular trait. So it's again, I always say that plant breeding, science and art together, but we should enjoy the art, but we should apply the science.
Excellent. Another question. Weevil is the big problem in Bangladesh for enjoying sweet potato. Is there any GM sweet potato in India which is resistant to weevil? Musammat Mahbooba Begum.
This I have no knowledge about whether it is there or not, but the only thing I know that there is a Sweet Potato Institute in India, and China consume more sweet potato that I know. But whether this weevil is a serious problem for many crop. Some research have been going on for weevil protection, but honestly speaking, I have no up-to-date knowledge about the weevil management by biotechnology or genetic engineering.
Thank you so much. May I ask all the panelists to come video mode, because Change Initiative, Ms. Sifati Rabbi, she requested me to take a photo. So all the panelists, please come on video. Sifat, is it okay?
Yes, sir. 2 more seconds.
Okay, sure. We are waiting. Okay, Sifat?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. We are at the end of our journey of 6 webinar, a nice series. I truly enjoyed, and my respected teacher, Professor Moinus Salam, was the last speaker to whom I always inspired very much. And I also always follow. He possibly does not know Dr. Shopon Dokto. I would never be like him, but at least I follow him and work hard to make something meaningful for the biotechnology and science. So it was wonderful journey, and Mr. Mohammed Shibli, he raised a hand. I will offer you a hand because he always contribute some meaningful, comments or questions. He's from USA. One point I'd like to mention here, Bangladesh has tremendous success in applying research knowledge or research technology in the practical field to feed the more than 160 millions of people in a small land. Really amazing. And we have lots of new challenges that we already received through the series of lectures. And we also receive lots of hopes, that is new technologies, frontier science are coming to solve the problems. And it is a continuous process. The problem would never be solved. All the problems would never be solved. And the problems will come, and solution also. Human, as our professor mentioned, the more brains, more people's, more brains, not always problem. So more solution will come. And we are very lucky, Bangladesh government, as Dr. Shopon Dokto mentioned, Dr. Motia Chowdhury was one of the, game changer leader in agriculture. And now Dr. Abdul Razzaq, the Honorable Agriculture Minister, he is by training a scientist. So we are very lucky. So it is no need to, convince him that science is very important. We are very fortunate that this year, 3 of our young scientists, led by Dr. Anamul at Breathe, received the Ekushe Padok, the second, highest recognition in our country, and they are from the biotechnology division of Breathe for their development of a new crop varieties. So we congratulate them, and we have lots of hope. I would like to ask Mohammed Shibli, because he, I'm sure, would make some comment. And if anyone from the panelists can make any comment or question, you are welcome. Mohammed Shibli, please.
Oh, thank you, sir. So I would say that this amazing presentation, and I am spellbound of seeing this two presentation from two world-class renowned scientists, Professor Dr. Shopon Dotto, Honorable Vice Chancellor, and myself, Professor Dr. Salam. So I do have two specific questions to experts. First question is Professor Dr. Shopon Dotto, Honorable Vice Chancellor. You have given a very thorough presentation and a roadmap on the biotechnology. So my question to you, sir, is, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Philippines, Indonesia is working on various biotech product and using various tools and methodologies. And, different countries' situation is different in terms of the product development methodology and the regulatory aspect as well. So as a world leader, sir, do you have any suggestion how can we increase the regional harmonization on various issues on biotechnology? This is one question to you. And my second question to Professor Dr. Salam, my sir, is thank you very much, sir, for your presentation full of wisdom. So your presentation provides a very thorough, the understanding of the current situation of the biotechnology and climate smart agriculture. So do we have any suggestion for government or donors to one or two suggestions that donors or Bangladesh government should to focus on this one, particularly on biotechnology and climate smart agriculture? Thank you, sir.
First, Dr. Shopon Dotto, sir.
Okay, I think this question is very fundamental, whether the regulatory system, if one country developed, whether other countries can harmonize that regulatory system or package. I would fully agree with that. It reduces time, energy, money, cost, and everything if you can harmonize it, so we don't need to do everything again and again. I think one of the things, again, during Madam Motia Chaudhary time, I have been also in the team, the Indian team and Bangladesh team. They got an agreement.
Yes, sir. Just cite one example from Motia Chaudhary. She said that the whole world can learn from Bangladesh, while Bangladesh released a BTEC plant. Thank you.
Yeah, the varietal release, if the testing is done in India, so the same material can be released in Bangladesh with 1 year of observation. Same from Bangladesh material can be used in India, Nepal, and elsewhere under similar environmental condition. So similar, if that can go on, why not a biotech product, the similar things can be adapted? The question is that sometimes the policymakers they have their own issues, I do not know, but often they do not give the freedom to the scientists to take the decision on what it should be the best for the country. What US can do it, US regulatory system always they rely and trust their scientific community and scientific bodies to go ahead and to for their own sort of system. I think it would take time probably to trust build up, and in principle I agree with you that it should be the best way to do it. But if it doesn't come, but a country, either it's Bangladesh or Philippines or Vietnam or India, a country can go ahead and take a bold step to demonstrate those deregulation of any of these things. Probably other country might harmonize or might follow it. So one of our countries need to take the courage to go ahead and to move ahead. What happened in few cases, BT Binjan in Bangladesh, BT cotton earlier in India, as well as now Philippines, the golden rice and other things they have taken. So we're moving a bit slowly, but in principle, yes, we should. But one probably it might take a long time to get harmonization. Rather, some of the countries need to take a bold step to go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, we need harmonization. In case of COVID-19 vaccine, RNA vaccine, Bangladesh didn't, do any clinical trial in Bangladesh before applying at mass level. So all over the world, to tackle this human health emergency, we, did the harmonization. If tested in one country, other country accepted it. In case of, biotech products. One day, maybe this situation will come. Now, Professor Moinus Salam.
Thank you, Sibli, for your nice question. To answer briefly, so number one, I briefly mentioned about the pulse industry, because this is really aging industry, and highlighted the reason behind that. So very patchy yield within a field. So this is due to disease, and honestly speaking, we don't have good management for the diseases, because the application of fungicide is very expensive, and farmers doesn't like to do that. So this could be one issue. The other is, you will aware very soon that the Ministry of Agriculture has built an agriculture transformation task force. Okay, so where all the donors or agencies are the member, and they will convene a meeting very soon, probably after that the APRC meeting, or the visit of the Honorable Director General of FAO in early March. So this is a good forum where we can raise these issues of the biotechnological application and adoption of so far the technologies we have. And that particular, that the committee is looking after $1.9 billion services from the donors. So government is short of $1.9 billion to implement the agriculture or national agriculture policy in the 8 5-year plan. So that will be a good opportunity, and I know that I am a member there, and USAID is also a member. So you will hear very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to express my profound thanks to two distinguished keynote speakers, Professor Dr. Shopon Dotto and Professor Moinus Salam. And I'm very lucky, because the webinar series, 6 webinars in a series, we received some world-leading scholars, and on the topic agri-biotech, from science to policy, trade, everything has been discussed in a critical manner. It would not only increased our understanding, those who participated, and lots of questions and comments from the participants made this whole series I think a mass of knowledge on agri-biotech, as well as the facing the future challenges in to make the climate resilient agriculture. All the webinars are recorded by the Change Initiative. I think it is really a good library for the researchers, policymakers, and others. I would like to thank all the keynote speakers who manage their time to deliver talks, outstanding talks. And obviously, the U.S. State Department, USAID, USDA, and most importantly, the Change Initiative, who really took the initiative to organize all the stakeholders to make all the webinars very successful. I am very much thankful to all the people's. Many people work behind the screen to make all the events very successful. Thank you so much. And the participants, obviously, they made this event very successful. I am thankful to all of you. And finally, I would like to share a few comments. Bangladesh, Bangladesh is a small land. We have huge population. In agriculture, we have the history of tremendous successes, but the future target is to make profitable agriculture, to ensure food and nutritional security. These are really formidable challenges, and Bangladesh government is positive. But what we need to do, we need more research, and we need to address all the challenges using not only biotechnology, all the human knowledges that could be utilized to address the challenge and get the solution in the real field, which should help us to continue and make our agriculture sustainable. This is not a challenge only in Bangladesh, in many other countries. And Bangladesh has landmark success in introducing a genetically modified crop plant. Already we discussed in several sessions, that is BT8 plant. Golden rice is now on the pipeline. Anytime it can be released, and late blight resistant potatoes. And in my team, we are working on development of blast resistant wheat variety by using genome editing. Now it is in the third generation, and we found very exciting success. We applied CRISPR-Cas genome editing technology to develop a rapid and convenient technology to diagnose wheat blast. And lots of other groups, 35 universities are now equipped with biotechnology department. Our NARS system, as well as national biotechnology policy, biosafety guidelines, everything is now in place. So we can hope a better future. And we again express our profound thanks to our most important partner for enhancing the capacity of biotechnology, the United States of America, for their support. We express our thankfulness to other international partners. And as a worker in biotechnology, I strongly feel that we need national as well as international collaboration to solve a particular problem. No country in an isolated manner can do that, as we did in case of COVID-19 vaccine development and others. So collaboration is must. And Dr. Shapun Dotto is here. My request is, when you have the opportunity to talk with Indian forum, we have a very weak relationship between India and Bangladesh in terms of biotechnology, genetic engineering, or even in agriculture, rather than we have stronger relationship with other countries. So we need more, collaboration with neighboring countries, because it would be more effective to apply the knowledge in the real field and share our thoughts as well as challenges. Thank you once again, Professor Moinus Salam and Dr. Shapun Dotto. I wish all of you sound health, because still COVID-19 is threatening us, and we wish to meet again in an in-person meeting and have more discussion. The Change Initiative has a plan to organize 2 in-person conference or seminar. I'm not sure the plan is still here. If Mr. Zakir Hussain, do you have any comment at this, last webinar and close the, webinar. I think it would be appropriate. You please unmute.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
I would be really very much happy that you would conclude the whole session, because you are the real key person, and you are instrumental as well to just bring all the sessions in the right way and right track. Especially, it was a great honor that you have already agreed to moderate the whole sessions. So, first of all, I would like to just convey my gratitude from the Change Initiative that to the US missions, USDA, and also the USID for giving us the opportunity to host this very prominent and very much timely interventions in terms of the climate smart agriculture, which is really, crucial for the country like Bangladesh that is suffering due to the climate change. I believe that these are the 6 webinars have been actually really very much exciteful, because this is the first time I have seen that the very engaged participants and not only the normal participants. I mean, all are learned, and the researchers have been here, and especially it is very much enlightening for all the people. Who are the new generations learner, to know the insights from the learned speakers like Professor Mainus Salam, and also Dr. Shapan Datta, and especially you and others speakers. So from Change Initiative, we are really grateful that they have kindly given the consent to just to join the events as speakers, and also enlighten the new generation and the other people who are just actually very much eager to contribute on the climate smart agriculture, especially on the biotechnology in the agriculture sector. It is undoubtedly an emerging sector still, I believe, but it has a immense potential for solution of the food security, and especially and also in the disaster-prone zone, which are vulnerable to the several types of disasters. But I believe that this is not the end. I believe this is the opening for the interventions from the Change Initiative as well. We are learning, always learning. And I believe that my colleagues, I'm really grateful to the Sifa Therapy. She has been instrumental, undoubtedly. And she has given lots of effort to make all the events successful. And apart from that, I'm really grateful to the Mohammed Shibli, Dr. Tanvir, and as well as Mr. Farhat, who has really spent so much time for just making this event successful. I would like to just thank you, the other concerned officials who have given the support indirectly and from the back sides to make the events, as my colleagues are there. So these are the actually, I believe, very much successful and meaningful for the next pathway for just intervention and to carry forward the current process in the upper level and the next level. Thank you very much, sir, again for your very vibrant and this very much enjoyable moderations. I believe this will be continued in coming soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Actually, as a teacher, I love to talk. So I had opportunity to talk with lots of people in the last 6 webinars. And thank you very much. Dira Masin, one of our young scholar, she interpreted Bangla.
Yeah, so Dira was there. Sorry, I'm there. I forgot to say. She was also
thank you so much. Thank you all. And good night. And see you all.
Thank you.